what is the effect of compressibility when it is okay to call a fluid compressible, and what are the how and when we need to consider the effect of compressibility. Okay, and we also looked at thermodynamics. What are the basically we looked into isentropic relations. So how do we define isentropic flow and what are the relations responsible? Now we'll go into some practical or application point. So we'll start step by step. So the simplest flow configuration will be a one-dimensional flow and that too steady. So that is what we are going to talk about in this chapter. So we'll look into a steady state one-dimensional compressible flow, and we'll also talk about we'll derive equations based on a stream tube. We'll look at something called D-level nozzle, which is basically a convergent divergent nozzle, and we look at what are the different how we define nozzle and diffuser for a compressible or incompressible flow, or basically supersonic or subsonic flow, and finally we'll talk about pressure coefficients. So this is a part of your syllabus for this chapter. Okay, now let us talk about the momentum conservation. So basically we'll apply Newton's second law, force is equal to ma. Okay, now let us say this is a stream tube. We have defined what is a stream tube, right? So stream tube is made up of streamlines, and because velocity of your fluid is always tangent to the streamline, so we assume that whatever fluid is there, that is not leaving it. Okay, fluid will not flow across the streamline. So whatever fluid has entered from here, the same amount of fluid will be leaving from here. That is, these are the basic assumption of a stream tube. Now let us say we have a stream tube of area dA, the length is ds, this is the length along the streamline, and we have a pressure difference. So let us say on the left side the pressure is P, and right side let us say pressure is P plus dP by ds. So basically it measures how the pressure is varying along the streamline multiplied by ds, the length of this stream tube. Okay, so very simple general one-dimensional flow. Okay, how can I call this one-dimensional if it is a little bit curved or something? Let us say this stream tube is curved like this. Can it still be called one-dimensional, or it is a 2D flow then? Anyone want to guess or clarify? The chapter says one-dimensional flow, but it looks to me as if it is a two-dimensional. Why is that so? Not. Yes. Yeah. So people can hear me.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So why it is? How come it is one-dimensional?
Too small.
No. Let us say a streamline. I can make a big streamline. I can make a streamline like this. So okay, let me clarify. So one-dimensional means I am talking about. It doesn't necessarily be one-dimensional in the paper. Basically, I'm talking about one dimension. That dimension is along the streamline. So even if a streamline is curved, I'm talking all the equations are referring to the stream tube, and we are talking along the direction of this streamline. So this is my, let us say, x, or I generally we call this coordinate as s. So we are talking about the direction of the streamline, and will not be talking about something like how it varies as we move along, something like that. So this is my x. This dotted line could be your as direction of along the streamline. Okay, is this clear now? So even though this picture may look 2D or 3D, but the one dimension is dimension along the streamline. So that is what we are going to stick to for this chapter. Okay. Now let us look at pressure balance or force balance. So the area is dA and we are applying pressure P here, and this is the pressure we apply. The area, let us assume that the area remains dA. So pressure will be, the sum of force will be P into dA. Okay, this is the force applied from the left side. Now from the right side, what is the force? This much into dA. That is what is written here, and because it is in the opposite sign, so it is written as minus. Okay. Now if you look carefully, I can see that this term will get cancelled and we'll have minus dp by ds into ds into a dA. This is what will be remaining. Okay. Further, if you look at Newton's second law, okay, I can write force, whatever the net unbalanced force is applied on a particular mass, F is equal to ma, mass into, let us say this mass is dm, okay, and dv by dt is your acceleration. So this is basically Newton's second law written for this fluid, and we know what is the force, what is the net unbalanced force. So I can write this is equal to dm dv by dt. Is this okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now what we'll try is, we'll try to figure out how to find dv by dt, and then we'll substitute this into this equation, and we'll find some simplified equation. Okay, so dv I can write in terms of, as I told, this is a 1D flow, so I need to consider only with whatever varies with respect to streamline in this direction delta s. And okay, let us to make it general, let us consider how velocity varies with respect to time, dv by dt and dv by ds. So I can write, if you divide everywhere by dt, I can write dv by dt is equal to del v by del t plus ds by dt. This can be written as, what it will be, this term ds by dt. Can I write it at velocity? Yes. So this will be velocity into dv by ds. This is what is written here. Now we will talk in terms of steady flow, or basically I will say that dv by dt is 0. So we are left with this term in the, oh sorry, we will not take a steady flow assumption now, we will just move this to the RHS. So I will say dv by dt plus this minus this whole thing is equal to 0. Okay. Now this is what we had in the last slide, if you remember. So here we need to substitute dv by dt. Before that, I will also substitute for mass. So dm is the mass. Can I write dm as rho into dA into ds? So dA is the area, ds is the length. So let us say this is a cylindrical tube. So dA into ds gives you the volume of the tube. Okay, area into length is volume, and rho is rho multiplied the volume will give you mass. Fine. So if I substitute the value of dm here, okay, and if I substitute it here, and what I need to do is I can get this dA dds will get cancelled from LHS and RHS, and I will end up with dv by dt is equal to minus rho will go that side, so minus 1 by rho del p by del s. This is what I will get. Is it clear, or should I explain again?
Clear.
Okay. Now if I substitute this in this equation, what I will get is dv by dt plus this term will remain like this, and dv with last term I will replace by this. So this is minus here, and this is minus here, so it will become plus. So this is this equation with last term replaced by this. That's all. Fine. This is what we have got. Now we talk about steady flow. Okay, so for steady flow, I will say that whatever is differentiated with respect to time, that will become 0. So we'll have v of dv by ds plus 1 by rho dep by del s is equal to 0. Or if you integrate it along a streamline, what I can do is this will become, if I multiply it with ds, okay, so these two will go. Now we'll have v square by 2 plus del p by rho. This has to be integrated, and this will be constant along a streamline. This is very important. So we cannot do it with across or different streamlines, but along a streamline, this will be constant. Is this clear how I derived this equation?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is called compressible form of Bernoulli equation. Okay, and one important thing that we see here is that if I want to integrate this term, what will be the condition for this equation? Can I say that rho has to be a function of pressure? Either the rho is constant or it is a function of pressure. Then only I can integrate this, or I can basically use this in this form. So any fluid that follows this property, any fluid that follows rho is a function of pressure, that fluid is called barotropic fluid. Okay. Moving on. So for isentropic flow, we have seen that P divided by rho to the power gamma is equal to constant. Or I can take the ratio, and I can write for rho 2 and rho 1, rho 2, P1, P2. So if I substitute this in the Bernoulli equation, or let us try to figure out dp by rho. So I can write in terms of gamma and in terms of P and rho. Basically, I am using this and integrating this. Is this clear? How I got this? See, if you are not clear, you need to ask. Otherwise, I'll assume that everyone is clear on what we are talking about. So is this clear, or you have, should I go forward or explain this again? You people are there or not? So the last equation is clear to everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So tell me it is clear. How will I know? Basically, just you are integrating dp by rho. That's all. Now, from Bernoulli, we know that this relation we know from Bernoulli. Last slide, what we have derived. So if I substitute this into this, so if I use this Bernoulli equation and I apply it here, or let us say dp by rho, I substitute in Bernoulli. Can I write in these terms? Basically, this v square is equal to constant. I write v square, v1 square plus this is equal to v2 square plus this. Or if I take the difference, it becomes v2 square minus v1 square, which is shown here. So v square plus 2 plus this is constant. So I can write v2 square by 2 plus this will be for P1 and rho 1 is equal to v1 square by 2 plus plus this will be integrated for P1 and rho 1. So if I substitute this integration here, I can write, let us take this difference, V2 minus V1 square by 2 plus gamma by gamma minus 1 P1 by rho 1 into this. So basically, if I integrate between P1 to P2, this is what we are going to get. Now this will be equal to 0. Right? This is your energy equation for isentropic flow for gases. Okay, so we have derived Bernoulli compressible Bernoulli equation, and we are looking into energy equation. Okay, we are running out of time, so let's stop here. Any questions? If you have, we can discuss.